Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We continue our Black History Month, and I think, Jack, you have one of the greatest athletes in professional wrestling.
Yeah, observation, let me get it out, of Black History Month, we've been covering some of the best men and women black performers that ever graced the ring here. And of course, Sylvester Ritter, the Junkyard Dog, is a personal friend to all three of us. So I wanted to end this series by profiling him tonight. Sylvester Ritter was born on December 13th, 1952, and was a professional wrestler and professional football player. Best known for his work in Mid South Wrestling and the World Wrestling Federation as the Junkyard Dog, or JYD for short. Entering the ring with his trademark chain attached to a dog collar to the music of Queen's Another One Bites the Dust, JYD regularly headlined cards that sold out the Louisiana Superdome and other major venues. JYD was one of the most electrifying and charismatic wrestlers in the country, particularly during his peak in the early 1980s. JYD was most known for his headbutt and upper body strength, the latter of which saw him regularly body slam such large wrestlers as the One Man Gang, Kamala, and King Kong Bundy. The word thump, which referred to JYD's power slam, was prominently displayed on his wrestling tights. Ritter played football at Fayetteville State University, twice earning honorable mention and All-American status, and is a member of the Sports Hall of Fame. He graduated with a political science degree and was selected by the Green Bay Packers, but knee and back injuries ended his football career. He debuted in the Tennessee territory, working for promoter Jerry Jarrett initially, before moving to Nick Gulas's company and using the ring name Leroy Rochester. From there, he moved to Stu Hart's Stampede Wrestling as Big Daddy Ritter, where he captured their version of the North American Heavyweight Championship on 2 occasions. In the early 1980s, Ritter moved to Mid-South Wrestling, where Booker Cowboy Bill Watts gave him the name and the gimmick of the Junkyard Dog. As his popularity grew, he feuded with some of the top heels in the company, including a now infamous angle with the famous Fabulous Freebirds, where they blinded him with hair cream. At the peak of the feud, JYD's wife gave birth to their first and only child, which was made a part of the storyline. It was explained that JYD would not get to see his new daughter, something that incensed the heat on the Freebirds to the point where they needed police escorts in and out of the arenas. The feud ended with the still blinded JYD and Freebird leader Michael P.S. Hayes wrestling in a dog collar match. Other notable feuds include Ted DiBiase, Kamala, King Kong Bundy, and the natural Butch Reed. The feud with DiBiase was particularly notable as DiBiase, once JYD's friend and tag team partner, turned heel and subsequently won a loser leave town match against JYD with the help of the infamous Loaded Glove, and forced JY to leave town for an extended period of time. A masked man, physically resembling JYD, known as Stagger Lee, appeared in the region and began to defeat the competition one by one, including DiBiase. Although DiBiase and the other heels strongly suspected that Stagger Lee was in fact JYD, they were unable to unmask him to prove their suspicions. Stagger Lee disappeared once the loser leave town clause in the JYD DiBiase match had expired, and JYD returned and reclaimed the North American Heavyweight Championship. The feud with Reed was also notable in that Reed was a protege of JYD and had turned heel. The two had a series of matches, many of which were bouts for the prize North American Heavyweight Championship. These matches were also notable for their brutality, which included ghetto street fights, dog collar matches, 2 out of 3 pinfall matches, and steel cage matches. At the height and the peak of their feud, JYD was lured to the WWF. In 1984, he left Mid-South for the WWF. While in the WWF, JYD made a habit of interacting with a growing number of young people in attendance, often bringing them into the ring after matches and dancing with them. Ritter won the Wrestling Classic tournament, often cited as the first ever WWF pay-per-view. And his most notable feuds in the company came against King Harley Race, the Funk Brothers, Adrian Adonis, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Outlaw Ron Bass before he left the company in 1988. In 1990, he had a brief run in WCW while it was still under the NWA banner, where he feuded with Ric Flair over the NWA World Championship and won the six-man tag team championship with Ricky Morton and Tommy Rich. JYD dropped out of sight for several years prior to his death. He battled drug addiction and for a few years worked as a bouncer in Las Vegas. He was able to come off drugs and was actively becoming a part of the pro wrestling scene again before his untimely death on June 2nd, 1998, in a single-car accident on Interstate 20 near his home in Forest, Mississippi. He was returning home from his daughter Latoya's high school graduation in Wadesboro, North Carolina. The apparent cause of death was falling asleep at the wheel. His daughter, Latoya Ritter, and sister Christine Woodburn represented JYD as he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame on March 13th, 2004, and he was inducted by Ernie Ladd, and this was the day before WrestleMania 20. His daughter died on October 19th, 2011. While talking on the phone to a friend, there was a loud thud. A friend called family members to check on her. She was found unresponsive. Paramedics were unable to revive her. She was only 31 years old. I talked to JYD a few days before his daughter's graduation. He had some things he wanted to talk to me about concerning the new promotion that he was doing in Mississippi and was going to call me back the following Monday evening. The call was never made because that was the day that he died. I attended his funeral later that week. It was a grand send-off for a truly remarkable man. The only wrestlers that were in attendance were myself, Buddy Landale, and Al Mandale. Buddy and myself were asked by his grandmother to sit with her on the front row. She said we were family. It was a beautiful service. He was laid to rest, and there's still no headstone on his grave. He was a showman, an entertainer, and my brother.
You know, the Junkyard Dog, he was such a nice man to everybody he came in contact with. I don't know of anybody that he wasn't. And if you didn't see him in Louisiana, man, this man was over in Louisiana. Am I right, Rodney?
Yeah, he was a superstar. I mean, rock star. I mean, he even had like school team, football teams named Junkyard Dogs. That's how big he was.
Yeah, Junkyard Dog, tremendous wrestler. And I tell you, you know, the last few years I got to talk to him a lot. He would call and we would talk to him a lot during those years. And he was a tremendous person. If you enjoyed this video, give us the big thumbs up, subscribe to the page, and go one step further, hit that notification bell. And we'll see you on the next video right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out.